Today, we'll be looking at growth and development, and we'll start by reviewing Erickson's developmental tasks. So we're going to overview all of these tasks throughout the lifespan. You know, Erikson postulated that people advance through the stages of development based on how they adjust to social crises throughout their life. So let's review Erickson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. From birth to 1 year is the infancy stage, you know, because we are completely helpless at this age. We depend on others to care for us and to love us. So if we receive good care and love, we learn to trust. But if we don't receive good care and love, there's mistrust. So at this stage, from birth to 1 year, the infancy stage, there's trust versus mistrust. Between ages 1 to 3 years is the toddler stage. Here, if we successfully complete toilet training, we're allowed to gain more control over our food choices, the kind of toys we want, then we'll develop autonomy and generally feel more secure and confident. But if we fail to get autonomy in these years, we will feel shame and doubt. So again, you start seeing the child developing or demonstrating defiance, negativism. And then between ages 3 to 6 is a preschool stage where you have initiative versus guilt. So in this stage, we'll learn to assert ourselves in social settings. If we succeed, we develop that sense of initiative. We feel more capable. But if we fail, we'll generally be left with more guilt and self-doubt. So we're going to lack self-confidence, we'll be pessimistic. Between 6 to 12 years is a school age where Erikson postulated industry versus inferiority. So between 6 to 12 years is a school age. If we're encouraged to improve our abilities, if our accomplishments are commended, we're going to develop that sense of industry, that sense of confidence. But if we are discouraged or we are ridiculed by our parents, our teachers, or our peers, we are more likely to doubt our abilities, you know, and we'll develop that feelings of inadequacy or inferiority. Between ages 12 to 20 years is the adolescent age or the adolescent stage, where the individual develops a sense of identity or a sense of self, or he ends up remaining confused about himself and their future. So you're going to have identity versus role confusion. Between ages 20 to 40 years is a young adulthood stage where we have intimacy versus isolation. So again, here we develop intimacy, we develop committed relationships, or we suffer isolation and loneliness. Between ages 40 to 65 is in middle adulthood. Here there's generativity versus stagnation. So if we succeed in building a good and productive life, we are likely to feel like we are contributing to the world. You know, that's that generativity. But if we fail to build a good and productive life, we are likely to feel stagnated. And between 65 years and above, 65 years to death, is late adulthood. Here we tend to look back on life. If we can develop a sense of pride in our accomplishments, we are likely to feel satisfied. That's integrity. And if we fail to develop this pride, we are likely to feel despair. Let's look at expected stages of play development. You know, children engage in play as an important part of their growth and development. As they grow, they progress through different stages of play and gain critical skills in each phase. One stage of play would be solitary play. In solitary play stage, children play a lot by themselves, so they play alone with no social interaction. Even though they enjoy the presence of others, this stage is characterized by a lot of exploration. They're exploring and they are learning how to entertain themselves. Their interest is centered on their own activities. So you're going to see solitary play during the infancy. Remember, we said infancy was from birth to 1 year of age. Another stage of play would be parallel play. Parallel play involves 2 or more children playing side by side without interacting. They are playing alongside, but not with one another. Children may observe other kids in the playground or they mimic their action. So with parallel play, it usually manifests through imitation. They mimic each other. So like we said, you're going to see 2 children in the same play area using different objects to play. So for example, one child could be playing with the plastic shapes, while another child is playing with a rubber doll. So usually these characteristics of toddlers, remember we said toddlers are between the ages of 1 to 3 years of age. Another stage of play would be associative play. And this is when children begin to learn how to interact with other children during playtime. So in this type of play, children participate in the same activity, and they might even exchange toys or even a few words. So associative play is a stage where children start showing interest in what other children are doing, and they include others in their play world. This is characteristics of preschooler. Remember we said preschooler stage is between 3 to 6 years of age. There's also cooperative play. Cooperative play involves children playing together to solve a problem or work on a project to achieve shared results. So unlike competitive games where there's a winner and a loser, with cooperative play, children work together towards a common goal. And this is characteristics of the school age period, where you have children between 6 to 12 years of age. Let's look at some causes of intellectual delay. For example, where there's a lack of or there's destruction of brain cells. And Down syndrome will be one of those. Down syndrome is characterized by chromosomal abnormality involving an extra chromosome at number 21. Down syndrome, again, is associated with maternal age greater than 35 years of age. When you assess, what are you going to see? We're going to see intellectual delay, where the IQ would range from 20 to 70. There will be marked hypotonia. So you're going to see that decreased muscle tone. So there will be marked hypotonia. You will notice that they have short stature. There would also be altered physical development. You're going to see those epicanthal folds, those low set eyes. Their tongues will be protruding. They would have this low nasal bridge. What's an epicanthal fold? That skin fold of the upper eyelid that's covering the inner corner of the eye. That's what we refer to as epicanthal fold. So you're going to see that in these children with Down syndrome. What's our plan for this child? So again, you would also notice widely separated first and second toes. There'll be increased creases on the soles. There will also be a single palmar crease, and you will notice the fingers are short, pointing inwards. So again, as part of our plan, we want to provide stimulation, occupational therapy, physical therapy, special education for these kids. You also want to observe for signs of common physical problems in these children. Remember, between 30 to 40% of them would have heart diseases. A very high majority of them, like 80% of them, would have hearing loss. And again, respiratory infections are also common. So you're going to see respiratory infections in these clients. Again, we'll need to establish and maintain adequate nutrition. Parental education is key, and we're going to help to support the parents. Remember, the parents would need to adjust to their child's disability, and the child has to achieve optimal functioning. Fetal alcohol syndrome is another leading cause of intellectual delay, and is caused by excessive alcohol ingestion during pregnancy, and is preventable if the mother avoids alcohol during pregnancy. When you see these children, what are you going to see when you assess them? They're going to have this thin upper lip. So you can see what the upper lip looks like. It's going to be thin. They're also going to have these epicanthal folds that we talked about. There would also be maxillary hypoplasia, that underdevelopment of the bones of the upper jaw. So there's going to be maxillary hypoplasia. So again, we said that would be underdevelopment of the bones of the upper jaw. So you're going to see maxillary hypoplasia. They would also display intellectual deficiencies. There will be motor deficiencies. You would notice microcephaly in this client, and they also have hearing disorders. So again, what's microcephaly? Where the baby's head is much smaller than expected. In terms of motor deficiency or motor impairment, that will be where you have maybe a partial or total loss of function of a body part, maybe the limb, and it's going to result in muscle weakness. They will have poor stamina. They will have hypotonia or even total paralysis. What else are we going to see when we assess this client? There's going to be irritability during the infancy, and then there will be hyperactivity during childhood. You would also notice that they will be small for gestational age. In terms of our plan, prevention would be key. So you want to instruct women to stop consuming alcohol 3 months before conception. And again, remember, there is no safe level of alcohol consumption during pregnancy. At birth, we want to swaddle the infant and decrease environmental stimuli. Remember, we said they are going to be hyper irritable. We're also going to administer sedatives to decrease symptoms of withdrawal in these clients. We also want to monitor the infant's weight, and we'll need to promote nutritional intake in these clients.